Yeah, Saka doesn't mind the pressure on his shoulders. He thrives on that. Janusz, I'm going to take you back to yesterday, Friday, when Mikel Arteta met the press. And he was asked about a few things, including potentially the arrival of Mikel Merino. I want to get to that in just a second. He was also asked, does he need a striker? Because we've spoken for 2 or 3 years on ESPN FC. Can they win the title without signing a striker? He said, I've got the goals I need. I've got the players I want there. So, with Havertz playing in that role and doing well, and Saka providing goals from out wide, if Mikel Merino comes in and he's not in the Real Sociedad squad this weekend ahead of a potential move, whose place does he take? Is it Thomas Partey, or where does he fit in, Mikel Merino, into this
Well,
Arsenal
that
squad?
you touched upon a number of issues there, right? Because Mikel Marino will find a position, and it's going to be in more of a attacking role, right? The bigger problem for me is the consistency at six, really, because looking at the game today, Thomas Partey, and you guys know him, right? I mean, for me, I just don't feel secure with him. Statistically, today he had a pretty good game. I think just enough. Although he did make a couple of big mistakes. If you remember in the second half, lost possession when Nuri had that shot from distance. That was very, very close. But otherwise, I thought, I didn't think that the Partey was the worst player on the pitch. But you just don't feel secure with him. Jorginho is there, and I think he'll be good in all those games and all the competitions. I think that's a bigger issue for me than it is how you're going to find space for Merino, because he can come in for Partey, no problem. You could put Declan Rice in that number 6 position. I don't know if it's ideal, but it's probably going to be good enough. Going back to your initial question, they're scoring by committee, and you look at Havertz with a goal and assist, and same with Mikel Saka. We have to here, honestly, I think, say that Kai Havertz is learning to become, or maybe already is, kind of a legitimate number 9 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is he going to be consistent? Is he going to be a prolific number 9? That remains to be seen, but haven't seen the end of last season, haven't seen European championships, haven't seen his movement today, and that goal, of course. You can kind of understand that Mikel Arteta probably is not going to panic and be put against the wall to absolutely sign number 9. But let's face it, they do need it. It can help. They can all coexist because they will be finding on all fronts. So I do think that they could use somebody at that number 9 that nobody is going to question, right? How that player is going to do, that's another story. We don't know it yet. But I think it's good to kind of put these conversations to bed.
LME, with Mikel Arteta saying he doesn't think he needs a number 9 right now, he doesn't think he needs a new striker, how do you try and sell the football club to a potential new striker who might not be coming in as the first choice? It might be squad strength. If the player available comes to the market and it's someone who it's a no-brainer and Arsenal decide to spend, then fine. But that player doesn't seem to be available right now, and Mikel Arteta doesn't seem interested in signing someone like that, or it probably would have been done by now, or certainly made clear by now. So how do you sell someone coming in as potentially squad depth rather than a first choice attacker?
I mean, listen, I'm on the side that they do need a striker, mainly because of two things. I mean, when you look at last season, Arsenal scored 91 goals in the Premier League. Only Manchester City did more defensively. They were wonderful, 29 goals conceded. But when you look at the scope of the matches that they lost, and specifically when you look at the end of the season, that's what cost them, right? They lost some home matches, including Villa, of course, in the Champions League as well. When that congested schedule requires somebody to just get those goals, when things are not going your way, I think they're going to need a striker that can do that. So to answer your question is very simple. Well, it's not simple, but it's simple, at least for Mikel Arteta, to say, we need somebody that can alleviate the pressures of goal scoring. Yes, there's attacking options, but when things are not going Arsenal's way, which is going to happen, I do think you need somebody that can just make it happen, that can score those goals. And again, I don't even just focus so much on the Premier League. I'm focusing on all the other competitions they have to play. And if the Champions League is something that Arsenal really wants to win, or they go far in a domestic cup competition, who are you going to rely on? Eddie Nketiah? I mean, Trossard obviously came in today. He's not a natural striker. Gabriel Jesus, we know, that he has struggled in the past. Kai Havertz, to Janusz's point, I think he's getting more comfortable. But in the end of the day, I still believe you need a natural, goal-scoring, hungry player that can do that. And I think that's the selling point. I think Mikel Arteta says to whoever and says, we don't have that. We don't have that right now. I am actually on the belief that Arsenal will win the Premier League. Okay? I do think
without signing a striker.
I think even without them signing a striker. But I think that my opinion will probably be alleviated if they can bring somebody in. Now, is it a Victor Osimhen? Is it an Ivan Toney? I don't think so. So to your point, can it be just somebody that can get you those goals? I just think it needs to happen because at the end of the day, there will come a time when Arsenal will struggle. It will happen in a 90-minute game against somebody. And sometimes you just need that player, that poacher that can get you those goals. Arsenal don't have that right now.
Yeah, it's perception, isn't it? I mean, you just don't want to leave it to chance because this is the moment, right? I mean, you don't want to leave it to the next season. Maybe next season is going to be the moment because you know what? Pep Guardiola is going to leave, and obviously there probably will be some drop-off in Manchester City. This Arsenal team will continue to develop and grow. You can say that, but you don't want to, right? You want to deal with the present, and that's important. I think what may happen, too, is rather than signing somebody, I'm sure they have players identified, but maybe they're not 100% sure. So look, I mean, you can still do that within the season. I mean, this is a pretty good start, right? The key players, Saka continues to do what he's done last season. Kai Havertz, as we've mentioned, continues to get better, a goal and an assist. And there's always that January. If you feel you need a push, you stay with what you have right now. It's a good start of the season. We'll see what happens in the next 4, 5, or 6 games. If they continue to do what they've done last season and now, and the front 3 or 4 players, Gabriel Jesus obviously is going to get playing time, continue to score by committee, then you leave it at that. And if you have any worries whatsoever, then you identify that players and buy it in January, even if you have to pay over the odds.
I think it's important to put context on this because we're looking at maybe signing a striker, and that isn't really the narrative right now to an extent after a game against Wolves. That could be the narrative at the end of a season if they lose the title by 2 points again. But as LME said, they scored 91 goals with pretty much the same squad last season, and the goals were shared around. You just have to hope, because they are not far away. They are really, really close. And you just have to hope, whether it's stubbornness on the part of Mikel Arteta or whatever it is, that being that close, if they don't get the title, and they never do under Mikel Arteta, then you'll look back and it's going to be the biggest what if. What would Arsenal have done had they signed a striker?